Hello and welcome to the shop. Have you ever thought turning a clear Bespoke pen would be something interesting to do? It sure does look amazing when you can see right into the pen and watch the inner workings of the pen. That's known as a demonstrator. Now, demonstrators have a unique set of problems. One of them is being able to sand the inside of the blank as clear as the outside. I've got this little tool that I made. It's a dowel rod and I cut a slit in it, and I use a special paper called Zona paper. Zona is a polishing paper. I'll put a link in the comments below to where I purchased my Zona. Using this little tool and this paper, I'm going to show you how to sand the inside of a clear blank and make it look as beautiful as the exterior. I'm turning a Bespoke pen, and this could really be called a demonstrator because you can see right through the resin. Now, as I drilled this out, the drill bit cut some scratches on the inside of the body of the pen, and I tried to use a little acetone thinking it might melt those scratches and hopefully clear the blank up, but it really just fogged it. So what I'm going to do is, this is some Zona paper, and I'm going to put a link to where I get this in the comments below. And this is it was just actually a small square piece of wood. I was out of dowels, so I took it to my disc sander and rounded it over, took it to the scroll saw, cut a little slit in it so that I can slide a piece of paper in there. Now, the lathe is going to be turning towards me, so we want to roll the paper around the dowel like this. We should be able to insert it into the pen. And really, I'm just rolling this by hand right now, but I'll go ahead and set the lathe up on the slowest possible speed. With Zona paper, there are 6 different grits of paper, and we're going to basically run through all 6 of them in hopes of clearing up the inside of this tube. I've set my lathe to 500 RPMs, which is as slow as it will go. I'm just going to turn it on and start sanding. Now, I don't want to come all the way out because there are threads on the inside of this tenon for the section. I'll shut the lathe off. I'll wait till it stops before I bring this out. And now I'll go ahead and just clip off this little piece of paper. I'll recenter the pad and just wrap it again. And we'll go back after it. You can already see a little bit of improvement. What I'm going to do is go ahead and repeat this process. I will flip this paper around and use the other half of it so that I use as much of the paper as possible. And I'm just going to continue to work through all of the grits until I've used up all of these pads, and then we'll take a look at how the inside of this looks. I'm hoping that all we'll have to do is maybe use a little water to clean that out, and should be fairly clear. I wanted to turn the camera back on because I just finished up with the green Zona paper, and I'm using a paper towel with a little bit of water on it. And take a look at how clear it is already. It's looking really nice. That's just one sheet. I've still got 5 more sheets to go. I'm hoping it's as clear as the end down here. So I'll come back and show you what it looks like when I'm finished. I'm 3 pads in, and I just cleaned the interior with a paper towel with a little water on it to get the dust out of there. It's looking great. There's still a little bit of moisture in there from the paper towel, but that doesn't matter because this Zona paper can be used wet or dry. I'm just going to keep on polishing, and hopefully this thing clears up even more, but it's looking great. It's so much better than it was. What I'm doing as I sand is I'm pushing up just a little bit, and I'm putting the Zona paper against the top of the blank. That way I can kind of watch what's happening, and I can rotate the paper inside of the blank to ensure that I'm getting good coverage of the entire interior. Just snip off the used portion, rewrap the blank. I am going to stop the lathe. I like to be really careful about the threads. Occasionally I forget and pull the Zona paper out. I try never to sand. You can kind of see the back of it. I try never to bring it into the threads because obviously we don't want to damage our threads. But so far, it's looking good. Once I've sanded, I want to get the dust out of the inside of the blank, so I just take a paper towel and wrap it around the end of my little dowel rod. We'll tear it off. I want to make sure it's small enough to fit inside of there, but big enough to mop it up. I'm going to dip the tip of it in some water, and then we'll just push it right inside the blank and start swabbing it out. Wipe the threads. That's just for good measure. Take a look at how clear that's becoming. It is almost as clear as the resin at the end down here. Here's a quick peek at my pen. I went ahead and used a section that I used just for test fitting, and I added a converter to it and installed that in my pen. It looks perfect in there. I'm super excited with how this pen is turning out, and I can't wait to actually have it inked and use it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I've been wanting to turn a Demonstrator style pen for a while. It's just, when you start turning Bespoke pens, it seems like that's just something that's on everyone's bucket list, and it was on mine. I was always concerned about the interior of the pen. I had someone tell me to use acetone because it melts the plastic and will smooth it out. Well, when I started turning this pen, I used acetone on the interior, and all it did was haze it up. It was a disaster, so don't use acetone. I decided to give this little dowel rod with a slit in it a try. I thought, well, what can I use? It hit me. I've got these Zona pads. I thought about micro mesh pads first, but Zona is much more convenient. It's more like a paper, and I was able to utilize this homemade little tool and sand the inside of that blank to where it looks as beautiful as the exterior, and I'm going to have an incredible looking Demonstrator pen. I'd like to thank you for joining me in the shop today. I want you to know that you are always welcome in my shop. Come back and see me again real soon, and have a great evening.